kids, and welcome to Chapter 5, Lesson 2, Absolute Value. So today you're going to be finding the absolute value of a number, of an integer, and you're going to be also looking at opposites, as well as the opposite of an opposite. Let's begin. So really simple is that when you have an integer and it asks you for the opposite, it's literally the opposite of the number, the value of that. So the opposite of a -5 would be 5. Or you guys say positive 5. The opposite of 10 is -10. Literally, on the number line, it's the direct opposite. You have 10 here going to 0, and then it'd be -10 on this side, direct opposite from the number line. What if it asks you to find the opposite, oh, look at this, of the opposite? Well, let's take a look. On this example, it says find the opposite of 4. Let's just take the first part of the sentence. It says find the opposite, and I'm going to ignore this, of 4. So the opposite of 4 is a -4. And the opposite of that -4 is 4. I'm back again to the beginning, the same answer. The opposite of the opposite. Does that make sense? So what is the opposite of the opposite of 7? 7. You're always going to get the same answer, what? Back. Does that make sense? Because once you find the first thing, which is 7, oh, the opposite of 7 is a -7. And the opposite of that is a +7. So it's the same thing. Does that make sense? All right, so these are easy ones. We'll get some more practice in a second because I'm kind of videotaping it, but you'll be practicing in a second. The last thing that we're going to talk to you about is absolute value. And what is absolute value? It basically is asking you how many units away is this number from 0. I don't care if it's a negative number, -20. How many units away is it from 0? How many units away? It's 20. I don't care if it's a positive number, +20. How many units away is it? It is 20 units away from 0. If the question is how many units away is a -1000, it is 1000 units away. It's distance, which can never be negative. So you're moving towards that. How many units away is a +200? The answer would be 200. The question you answer always is how far or what is the distance between that number and 0? And because you're talking about distance, it's positive. Always going to be a positive answer. So eyes up here. You denote that it's absolute value because there's going to be bars, and you'll notice the bars are a lot longer than the number inside. That tells you, oh, they're asking absolute value. Show me with your hands what the bars look like. Right? Exactly, vertical bars. So the question is, it's asking is, what is the distance of this number from 0? What would that answer be, class? 7. So what's the absolute value of a -7? Class? 7. What's the absolute value of 2? 2, not the opposite. Distance is always positive. What's the absolute value of a -4? 4. What's the absolute value of 20? 20. What's the absolute value of a -1? 1. Absolute value, distance from 0. Good? Then they'll give you sometimes, oh, you just solve a problem with absolute value. You still ask yourself the question when you see those bars, what is the absolute value of 5? It is what, kids? 5. I'll bring this plus sign down. What's the absolute value of a -6? 6. So what you basically told me is 5 plus 6. What, I used to see this when I was in kindergarten. 5 plus 6, right? So you're going to solve it now. 5 plus 6 is 11. You never thought you'd be doing that again in 6th grade, huh? Adding 5 plus 6. What is the absolute value of a negative 7, kids? 7. Break down that sign. What's the absolute value of 3? 3. Oh my goodness. I'm doing this stuff that I did in kindergarten. 7 minus 3?
4.
That's my answer. Miss Munoz, is the absolute value always going to be positive? Yes. Always going to be positive. Except when they try to trick you, and some people fall for the trick. When it looks like this, there's a little negative sign outside, and let's say it's and I don't think you're going to get this in 6th grade, but you will get this in 7th grade, where you have negative numbers. I just want to show you because I want you to know that there is a situation where this will come like this, like where you have this, let's just say. You say, oh, what's the absolute value of 5? 5. What's the absolute value of 3? 3. Wait a minute. There's a negative sign. I had to just drop that. That's a negative 5 plus 3, which you will not be doing. But I want you to know that this does happen. You will have negative numbers. You will see this when we do 7th grade math. But here, you would have, oh, negative 5. I'm going to add to that 3 positives. How do I know it's positive? There's no negative sign. We cancel out the ones that are opposite signs. And I'm left with 2, but they're both negatives. And that's how you do it. You don't have to do it this time. Ours are just easy. I just wanted you to know that this does happen, though. Though it's not happening in this lesson. It's going to be all positive numbers. Yes, sir.
Could this be like money? You're in like debt?
Yeah. But the thing is, it's always going to be a positive. Always, because distance is positive, right? And that is chapter 5, lesson 2.